Hey everybody, boy do I have a story to tell you. First of all, I want to say happy Thanksgiving. I hope you and your family have a great one, and much love to you all. This story comes out of the BFRO website. It's report number 79083. You might want to go to their website and check out that report number because there are some pictures attached to it that you might want to look at. This story comes from a guy out of Missouri. He says, I live in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, about 15 miles west of town. The photo shows what looks to me to be a Bigfoot. That's the only way I can describe it. I was alerted via my iPhone that my camera had taken a picture because motion was detected. As soon as I pulled up the image to see what had triggered it, I was immediately curious because I could see something huge standing in the middle of the creek. I quickly went to show my wife, who I was eating lunch with at the time. She agreed it looked like something huge, but she couldn't make out quite what it would be. I loaded up the live view option on this camera since it has cellular capabilities. By this time, it had pulled up the live view of the creek. Approximately 10 to 15 seconds later, the creature was already gone. It was no longer in frame. I had to go back to work after lunch until 5 that afternoon. After work, I called my brother and told him to meet me, and we would go down to the creek and try and see what this was. When we got down there, we started looking for footprints and found none on the banks. Whatever it was appeared to have stayed in the water the entire time. Unfortunately, the creek bottom in this area is extremely coarse and has nothing but fist-sized gravel on the bottom. So the ability to see any type of footprint was very difficult. The water this time of year is about waist to ankle deep and flows at a pretty good pace. I had my brother stand where the creature was standing and tried to replicate the image of him, at which point we realized the creature was several feet taller than my brother, who is 6 feet tall. My brother's head didn't even cover half the background that this thing covered in the original picture. It was very much taller, at least 2 to 3 times wider than my brother. We see deer out on the farm all the time, but we knew this was not a deer or a bear for obvious size reasons. This thing appeared to be facing the camera, standing up on 2 legs. Just to make sure we did our investigation's due diligence, we went out about 2 days later and took another picture of my brother standing in the same spot, but this time we took it with the same game camera itself instead of my iPhone, and we had it in the same place, the same time of day. The images are similar, same camera from the same angle on different days. The water level was a few inches lower, but otherwise the conditions and lighting were basically the same. This thing was still several feet taller than my brother. I set up this cellular trail camera so I could easily check the water levels of the creek through my phone app, but this camera can detect motion also. It has only ever detected motion and taken photos when the small branches and leaves right in front of it triggered it with a blowing breeze. There were several images sent that day that were triggered by blowing leaves. This creature, excuse me, happened to be in the creek when the camera was triggered by the leaves at this moment. The creature was approximately 100 feet away from the camera, which is too far for it to be triggered. I normally do not pay too much attention to the notifications from this camera because the purpose of it is to look over the creek to see the water levels during flooding seasons, in which case I would quickly return home to drag my kayaks and camping gear up away from the creek itself. The camera is far enough away from the creek banks that no animals have ever triggered it. It's simply by walking in the water or on the sides of the creek. This camera sits on the north end of our 700-acre family property farm. Wow, 700 acres. That's amazing. That's a lot. This property is totally private, and there is no access to this creek area unless you walk about 3/4 of a mile through the woods from the county road I live on. We've owned the property since the mid-1980s and have never had any issues with trespassers down in this area. For one, this particular area is extremely secluded and difficult to get to. It's also completely fenced off, and I have no trespassing signs everywhere out there. We scoured the banks up and down the creek several hundred yards in both directions, but couldn't tell where it had left the waterway. We have heard stories over the years from several people out in this direction that they have seen what they appeared to be a Bigfoot. I have always been genuinely curious, but never pursued the validity of those statements myself because it was just never on my radar until it showed up accidentally on my game camera. That was set up for a purpose of checking creek water levels. The camera has been down there about 3 to 4 weeks. We had lost a kayak earlier in the summer and realized we needed a way to be able to check the rising water levels ahead of time. This camera is so far down away from anything that it only has one bar of cellular service. Therefore, it would only send standard definition pictures of anything rather than high definition. If I had a memory card in it at the time, I could have had it save those images in high resolution, but that was never my goal. I wasn't trying to see deer antlers or turkeys or anything like that, so standard low definitely images work just fine for me, simply looking at water levels. This creature is several feet taller than my brother, who is 6 foot tall, as well as 2 to 3 times wider. Its hair color was brown and black. It is standing on 2 legs, has 2 arms, and appears to be walking towards the camera. I believe it's a Bigfoot. We have heard howls in this area on the farm for years, but I've never really thought much about it until now. I always assumed it might maybe be coyotes. The creek is down at the base of a big hill and has a flat area next to it that we call Hidden Valley. Now, I looked at these pictures on the website, and it appears to be a Bigfoot standing in the creek. But the thing I noticed about it that I saw, it looked like it had a walking stick with it. And I have heard people say that they have seen Bigfoots with walking sticks, which would make sense. I mean, they walk like us and they probably trip over stuff. So I thought it was interesting. And the pictures also show his brother in comparison. So if you go to the website and check those out, it's really, really cool. So I think it's a great story. It's a really cool area. I looked it up online. It's very rocky and lots of waterways and forests. So I thought it was a great story, and I think you'll enjoy it too. And I really hope you all have happy holidays and enjoy yourself. I appreciate you. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.